Got some viewers in Republic. Yeah. Gust 46 miles per hour. Gust 45 miles per hour in Joplin. Okay.
I hate dumb questions. Were you in school ever and your teacher was like, there are no dumb questions? It's a lie. All a big lie. Because there are.
What did you say that? Did you ask, were there ever any dumb questions? Is that what
No,
you
did
said?
your teachers ever tell you that there aren't dumb questions?
Oh, sure.
Because there are. I hate when people ask stupid questions. Matt today at one point I really wanted to write in there and just be like, shut the fuck up, please.
Yeah. He's just looking for somebody to respond. That's all. That's all he's really doing. He just needs the attention. All righty. Let's see what we got. I hate these like super borderline situations. It could really go either way.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like we had in, what was it, November?
Do you have your mic on? You don't have your mic
No.
on.
Why?
I'm gonna turn mine off just because they're hot.
Jamie has his IFB in. I don't have mine in. Ready, set, go. Thank you. Do what? Yeah. Yep. Just go for it. Yeah, Jamie's got his IFB in, so you can talk to him. I'm going to put mine in really quick. So whenever you're ready.
I can hear you. Are you going to count me in? Okay. Okay.
Oh, you're on. Go ahead, go.
All right, tornado warning has been issued for Barry County, and this extends into Stone County. This is for this line right here. We've got circulation very close to the Wheaton area. Now, what's incredible about this is that this circulation is moving northeast at roughly 85 miles per hour. You can see the tornado warned area extending off to the east. This includes areas like Purdy, Butterfield, Cassville, Wheaton right now. You guys are probably now just in the clear, as it looks like the worst of this is now sliding toward the Purdy area. If you live in these communities, especially over western Barry County, please be taking shelter. At the very least, it looks like some damaging straight line winds with this line of storms. Again, rocketing off to the northeast at 85 miles per hour, where there have been some reports of winds of about 40 to 50 miles per hour with this line. And now it looks like within this portion of the line that you can see sort of curving off to the northwest of Purdy, that appears where we may have one of these mesovortices developing, a small isolated tornado trying to develop on that line of storms. And that's what's tracking northeast, and that's what's generated the tornado warning that we're now looking at for Barry County. And again, that extends off to the east into parts of Stone County. That tornado warning in effect through 11:45 this evening. Now, looking more closely at what we've got here on radar, it appears that the potential circulation would be very close to, it looks like the Fairview area. It looks like it would be maybe just to the east of Fairview, just looking at radar right now, maybe just to the east-northeast of Fairview, and that will continue to rocket off to the northeast at about 85 miles per hour. And on that trajectory, that would bring it across areas maybe close to Monette, south down through Purdy. So it appears that is where we are most under the gun in terms of a tornado risk with this line of severe thunderstorms that, again, is plowing off to the northeast at 85 miles per hour. Again, just pointing out where that circulation is. Let's see if I can get my pointer up here for you. That is in this location right here. It appears this is where the possible tornado is, just to the east-northeast of Fairview, and that will be tracking toward the northeast at 85 miles per hour, impacting areas between Monette and Purdy. Clearing this information off, we'll go ahead and kind of see what the rest of this line looks like. Again, you can see it extends north and south up toward the Carthage area, and then south down toward Bentonville, Arkansas. And you can also see how it's bowing out in this area. This is a signature that indicates not only the potential for that tornado that I just mentioned, but also the potential for damaging winds, maybe approaching 60 miles per hour. Just looking at a report up here, weather station just north of Wheaton measured a 69 mile per hour gust. That's associated with that bowing line segment that is located in northwestern Barry County. So if you're just joining us right now, again, a tornado warning has just been issued for much of the northern half of Barry County into northern Stone County. That tornado warning in effect through 11:45 this evening. Radar indicating a possible tornado. Looks like that would be located maybe a little southwest of Monette, racing to the northeast at about 85 miles per hour. Keep in mind, when we get into these types of situations, we focus sometimes on where the current circulation is, but these lines can sometimes produce tornadoes outside of where you're seeing a circulation. That's why we've got this very broad tornado warned area, because it looks like as this line of severe storms continues to race off to the northeast, and you can see how that warning has now been extended to the north into southern Lawrence County as well as northwestern Christian County. So tornado warning has been expanded north now into south central and southeastern Lawrence County and northwestern Christian County, and it's because this portion of the line that I'm pointing out right here, this portion of the line is going to be tracking northeast. Looks like it looks like it will be moving through the Aurora area, actually the Monette area right now, and then it will race toward Aurora. Folks, you do not have much time to take precautions for a possible tornado. Again, if you live in the path of this storm, please take this seriously and take shelter right now. We had an event not too long ago, back at the end of November going into December, very similar to the event that we're looking at tonight, and it did produce one deadly tornado in the Aurora area and other tornadoes that night. And again, looks like we're looking at a similar situation tonight with the overall setup that we've got in place across southern Missouri and into northern areas of Arkansas. Again, right now, looking at the circulation, it appears to be strongest very close to the Monette area. Looks like that circulation would be right about in here, and that will be tracking again northeast very quickly toward the Aurora area, moving right up Highway 60. So if you live between Monette and Aurora, this possible tornado is going to be moving through your area. You are tornado warned. You need to be taking shelter right now for the possibility of a tornado. Again, kind of moving our map around a little bit, sort of expanding the view just a touch. You can see how this relates to the Springfield area, also Republic. Right now, this line of storms appears to have its sights set on the Springfield area. This would include Republic, Nixa, and Ozark. So if you live downstream and you're watching right now, please be very, very mindful that these storms are going to be moving in our direction. Right now, the most concerning part of the line is this segment that is moving across Monette very, very quickly. This is where the possible tornado is, and I'll put our scope tool back on, and you can see pretty clearly where that possible tornado is. Right here on Highway 60, just to the east of Monette. We've got some markers on other radar products that we have indicating that there, at the very least, is a decent circulation right there, and one that could be producing a tornado. Oftentimes in these scenarios, these tornadoes are very quick. They're very short-lived. They tend to be rather small. So this is a situation where, again, it may not be on the ground very long, but it can do significant damage. We've had countless instances of situations like this where we have these mesovortices that do generate damage. And again, as I mentioned, late November of last fall, going into December, there was one deadly incident of one of these types of events that went into the Aurora area. So watching this line of severe storms very, very closely. Again, tornado warning in effect for as I zoom this out, you can see tornado warning is in effect for all of southern Lawrence County into north central and northeastern Berry County. This is where the threat is most significant right now, but that warning does include areas further east into the panhandle of Christian County and also across most of the northern half of Stone County. So if you live maybe up towards, say, the Billings area, Galena, Branson West, you guys are tornado warned, but it's going to be a little bit before this line of severe storms gets into your area. I would be most concerned right along the Highway 60 corridors. It appears that that's where that Boeing line, the Boeing part of that line, and again, I'll point that out for you at home. This part of the line looks like it's going to track right along Highway 60. It looks like it has moved through Monette. It will be making its way into the Aurora area within minutes, and then from there it looks like it will track toward Marionville and then Billings, and then if it does hold together, it would make its way up toward the Republic area. This is where there is the possible tornado. Again, it's this Boeing part right here. It appears that the tornadic circulation is located roughly here, right very close to Highway 60, and it will continue to track toward the northeast at about 60 miles per hour. Beth, you have anything over there on your end?
Yeah, so we're getting reports that Purdy has lost power. Parts of the city of Purdy is losing power. Their storm shelter is open. We're also seeing reports of pea-sized hail associated with this line. And just a couple of things to remember when there is a tornado warning. You want to make sure that you do seek shelter in the most interior room and stay away from windows. Get low to the ground and make sure you put something over your head to protect yourself from any falling falling debris that you may see. Again, stay away from windows, the most interior room, and the lowest level of your house. These storms are something that you do not want to mess with.
And again, great advice right there. Just looking at radar, putting our scope tool on there, it appears that the possible tornado would be located to the east of Monette now. Maybe just north of Highway 60 to the northwest of Pleasant Ridge. And based on its current movement, looks like it will continue to either move right along or just to the north of Highway 60 toward Aurora. So if you live in Aurora, please be taking shelter right now. Possible tornado moving in your direction with this line of severe storms. At the very least, we are likely going to find damaging straight line winds, which could approach 60 miles per hour. There was an unconfirmed report of a 69 mile per hour gust in the Wheaton area as this line of severe storms moved through that area probably about 10 minutes or so ago. So again, this is just the beginning phases of what will probably be a busy night over portions of southern Missouri and in northern Arkansas. And I want everybody at home that is watching right now, even though you may not be under a warning of any kind, please stay weather aware tonight. As conditions will very quickly change as these storms move very quickly through the Ozarks. In fact, this line of severe storms moving at an incredible 85 miles per hour to the northeast.
We are also getting reports of some ice accumulation that's not associated with this line, but those are things also to keep in mind. We're also seeing on our lightning loop a lot of activity out there with this line. So again, you want to stay indoors. You want to stay in the most interior room in the lowest part of your house. We're also seeing some hail associated with this line as well. So again, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you stay inside and in the lowest part of your house, in the most interior room. Stay away from windows. Do not go outside and take pictures. You want to stay safe from this line of storms.
Yeah, as Beth mentioned, another concern is the possibility of some large hail. There are some indications that there could be a bit of a hail core to the southeast of Monette, and some of the storms this evening have already had a history of producing hail up to quarter size. We certainly had some of that in the Republic area about an hour ago. In terms of the latest right now, looking at our scope tool, it appears that the possible tornado would be located right about in here. This is on the western end of Aurora, and this will continue to track toward the northeast at 85 miles per hour. That will bring it into Aurora within minutes, and then from there it looks like it will probably track to the north of Highway 60 based on its current movement for a little ways before it approaches maybe Marionville, and that should be within the next, I would say roughly 10 minutes or so from now. It should be approaching Marionville. So if you live in Marionville, if you live in Aurora, please be taking shelter. Possible tornado with this line of severe storms rapidly moving into your communities. Again, outside of the tornado risk, this is a setup that is ripe to produce damaging winds. And the reason for that is, and I'll kind of broaden out our view just a little bit, you can see how this line is bowing out right in here. That means that we've got very strong wind energy punching into the back side of the line, causing it to bow out, and then that wind energy is transferred down to the surface. And what's unusual is that temperatures at the surface are rather cold for severe weather, but that layer of cold air at the surface is shallow enough for that wind energy to make it all the way down. And again, we have had reports already of damaging wind gusts with this line. We had one unconfirmed report of a 69 mile per hour gust in the Wheaton area. In terms of the tornado potential, it looks like the circulation, the strongest circulation that I can see on this line, currently located very close to Verona, to the west of Aurora, and then that will continue to track toward the northeast, probably clipping the north side of Aurora here over the next few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in. Again, it looks like, and Verona is located right, you can see it right there coming up on the map. It's located right here, so it looks like you're probably getting some damaging wind gusts in the Verona area. I think the tornado threat now maybe is moving just to the east of Verona, and that will continue to move toward the community of Aurora. over the next few minutes, and then from there it looks like it would track up toward Marionville within about 10 minutes time from now. These storms are moving at an incredible speed at 85 miles per hour, and that's kind of a testament to the strong wind energy that's associated with this storm system overnight tonight. That is what's helping to lead to the severe weather potential that we've got in place for the overnight hours into the morning over southern Missouri into northern Arkansas. Let's see if we've got anything new coming in, just kind of broadening out our view here. In terms of warnings outside of the tornado warned area, we also have one severe thunderstorm warning in northern sections of Dallas County and in northwestern Laclede, southwestern Camden County. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. The further north you get, these storms are going to tend to be just hailers. Really, it's further south into southern Missouri and northern Arkansas where you get a bit more instability, just enough instability for a tornado threat. And we've seen that unfold here over the last 20 minutes with this storm, this line of storms, I should say, which is racing across southwest Missouri. Tornado threat right now looks like it is between Verona and Aurora. That appears to be where we have still some hints of circulation on radar. Again, this would likely be a very quick-moving tornado. It would probably be very small in size, and again, could still generate some significant damage. These kinds of events, you know, viewers at home, you're looking at this and you're like, well, that tornado warning looks unusual. It looks like a big square. Well, with these kinds of severe weather events, when you've got a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, and then you've got these lines of severe storms like we have in place right now, that's when you have the potential of these quick circulations developing on the line. You have these very broad tornado warnings, and we're getting word now from the National Weather Service that they are issuing now a tornado warning for Greene County. So Greene County, and you can see it now flashing on the screen, Greene County is now under a tornado warning. This includes Republic, north to Willard, east across Springfield, up through Fairgrove, and also down toward the Battlefield area. So if you begin to hear the sirens, it's because a tornado warning has been issued for the Springfield area. It covers most of Greene County. Just getting the information up on the screen. That tornado warning is in effect through midnight tonight. So for about another 40 minutes or so for that tornado warning, as we're tracking that line of severe storms, which currently is draped across areas from Mount Vernon south down across Aurora. It appears that that line of severe storms will continue to race toward the northeast at about 85 miles per hour, generating a tornado risk as it moves in, and that's why a tornado warning has been issued. Let's clear off all that information right there. Kind of going back to where the most concerning part of the line is, it's back here between Aurora and Marionville. And again, if you've been watching, I mean, just think how quickly this line of storms has been moving along. It wasn't that long ago, 20 minutes or so ago, it was west of Monette, back toward the Wheaton area, and now we're talking about this line of severe storms moving into Aurora. It appears that just northwest of Aurora is where where we have evidence of a possible circulation. So I'll go ahead and zoom in. It appears that, and then I'll put our scope tool on here just so you have a good idea of what I'm talking about. This is what radar is picking up as maybe being a possible tornado right here. These are strong inbound winds just northwest of Aurora moving in toward the radar site here in Springfield. And you can see latest radar scan now has that pocket of circulation now located north of ZZ Highway to the northeast of Aurora. So it looks like the tornado threat is rapidly now passing by Aurora, and looks like it will stay just northwest of Marionville or just to the northwest of Highway 60. In fact, this circulation overall has been paralleling the Highway 60 corridor from Monette, now located just to the northwest of Marionville. Going ahead and kind of broadening out our view right there, you can see where that circulation is located right about in here. This again is northeast of Aurora, and this is going to be tracking toward the northeast. If I go ahead and I'll kind of broaden this out a little bit, take this information here and kind of broaden this out just so that we can see how this relates to the Springfield area. Again, right now it appears that possible tornado is going to track right through this area. That's the direction of movement. And that's why a tornado warning has been issued for Greene County. Looks like this possible tornado is going to continue to track along just to the north or on the north side of Highway 60, moving across the north end of Marionville. Looks like probably within 5 minutes it will be moving across the north end of Billings, and then it will make its way into southwestern Greene County and potentially impact areas, especially to the west and northwest of Republic. So if you live in Republic or Brookline, please take this seriously. A possible tornado is going to be moving in your direction, and it won't take long to get there. This storm is moving northeast. Last check, I think 85 miles per hour. It appears that it's still moving at that speed. That does not give you much time before that tornado arrives to take shelter. So if you live in Billings, northeast across Republic into the Brookline area, please be taking shelter right now. Possible tornado will be moving very close to your communities within the next 10 to 15 minutes. And eventually it looks like this possible tornado will make its way into the Springfield area, probably in about 15 to 20 minutes time, as again that circulation is moving very, very quickly off to the northeast at an astounding 85 miles per hour. Beth?
Something else that you want to all keep in mind, the dense fog advisory is still in effect. There is very dense fog across much of the Ozarks right now, so you do not want to be outside. You're not going to be able to see anything. You want to make sure that you seek shelter immediately. This is not something that you want to mess with. And a couple things to remember when there is a tornado warning is you want to seek shelter inside of your house in the lowest level in an interior room and stay away from windows. We're also seeing reports of small hail with this line segment and damaging wind gusts. So you want to make sure that you are inside, you are protected. Maybe grab a pillow to put over your head to protect yourself from any falling debris. We're also seeing very heavy rain with this line segment. So if there is any flooding, again, you don't want to walk or swim or play in those flood waters. Again, this is not something that you want to be outside and you're not going to be able to see anything. The dense fog is still out there. We're looking at less than 2-mile visibility in Springfield and even less further southeast across the Ozarks where this line segment is.
And right now, currently, it looks like that possible tornado located right about here, just to the northwest of Marionville. Again, that's going to continue to track just on the north side of Highway 60. From here, it looks like it's going to make its way up toward the McKinley area. It will be making its way across Highway 14 and then moving just to the west and northwest of Billings based on its current trajectory. You know, getting away from this, I do want to, I'll take this off and broaden out this view. And you can see this line of severe storms. A half an hour ago, that line of severe storms was making its way across parts of McDonald County and Newton County, and now it's already making its way into southwestern Greene County, western Christian, and northwestern Stone County. So very, very fast-moving line of severe storms. That fast movement, some of that wind energy that's helping to push these storms along is going to make it down to the surface, and I know it's very unusual and that it's very cool at the surface. We've got surface temperatures right now in the 40s to low 50s where this line of severe storms is moving through. Typically, you don't get damaging winds or tornadoes in that kind of environment. You can get hail, but not necessarily the damaging winds or tornadoes. But the that shallow layer of chilly air is very shallow, and it appears that that wind energy, there's enough of it to make it all the way down to the surface, and we have had some gusts already reported in excess of 60 miles per hour. Unverified, but reported to be in excess of 60 miles per hour at this line as it made its way across the Wheaton area. As far as the tornado warning, if you live in Monette, if you live down to toward Cassville, Purdy, northeast up toward Aurora, Verona, you guys are now in the clear. That line of severe storms has now made its way northeast of your area. The line of severe storms, though, is rapidly approaching Republic, Billings, Clever, down through Crane. These are all communities also that are under this tornado warning as this line of severe storms races into the area. In terms of tornado potential, this is one of those scenarios. I know this is a very large tornado warning, a very boxy looking tornado warning, but this is one of those scenarios where sometimes these circulations that they come on very quick and then they fade very quickly. So it's better to be safe than sorry because conditions are conducive for further tornado development or for more of these circulations to develop. A very broad tornado warning has been issued for this line of severe storms because it looks like we could see tornado development develop across, along the length of that line as these little circulations try to develop and then spin up and then they fade away. We've had one of those that's been pretty long lasting that actually developed back southwest of Monette. It's been riding the Highway 60 corridor, and it looks like now it would be located just to the west of Billings, moving toward the northeast, again at 85 miles per hour. In addition to the tornado potential, we've got damaging straight line wind potential with wind gusts maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour. Also, there has been some hail. Right now, it looks like the hail with this line of storms would be on the small side, but we have had some hail reports with other storms tonight of quarter size. So hail is also a concern with the severe weather potential overnight tonight. Again, line of severe storms currently making its way through the Marionville area. I would guess in Marionville you're still getting very heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and also some strong wind gusts. It appears that the tornado potential, though, has now exited off to the northeast. And overall, the circulation that we've been tracking north of Highway 60 has weakened. It still looks like there may be a weak circulation very near Billings or just to the west of Billings, so it still bears watching. This is what's going to be tracking into southwestern Greene County here within the next 5 minutes or so.
And a couple of things you all want to remember when there are tornado warnings. You do not want to be outside. There's very dense fog out there. We have that dense fog advisory in effect. So again, you do not want to be outside. There's nothing you could see. The fog is too dense. The rain is pouring. It's not somewhere you want to be outside. You want to be inside your house in the lowest level in the most interior room with no windows. Make sure you grab a pillow and put it over your head for any falling debris. Again, you want to make sure you are inside, you are safe. This is not something you want to be outside for, to take pictures or take videos at all.
Yeah, and just kind of looking at this line, I do want to kind of broaden our view out, because this line of storms extends down into southwestern Barry County, across communities like you can see the Cassville area, and we're going to have to, again, you can see how large this tornado warning is. It extends from Cassville northeast up to Springfield and east into Branson West. And just kind of looking along the length of the line, nothing huge stands out, but these circulations can develop very, very quickly, and then just as quickly as they come, they can fade. And within that time frame, they can produce weak, brief tornadoes that can produce some damage. We've had a very persistent circulation that's been riding the Highway 60 corridor. It appears that that circulation has faded here a little north of Billings. I hope that to be true. I don't see really any evidence right now on radar in terms of our velocity data, but you can see how this line of severe storms, how it extends back toward the southwest into Cassville, and there could be some pockets of circulation which may try to develop along that part of the line. So we're going to have to watch that very, very closely. Latest statement from the National Weather Service is that as that line of severe storms comes into southwest Greene County, Christian, and Stone counties, they're still watching for the potential of these brief tornadoes to develop, these mesovortices that we get with these lines of storms oftentimes here in the Ozarks. And again, just because one circulation that we've been tracking has faded away, that does not mean that the tornado threat is over with for other areas along that line. That line of severe storms also concerning because damaging straight line winds will be a possibility, in addition to the threat of maybe some hail, although right now I'm not seeing any hail cores that are really standing out to me. Getting a report of the sirens going off in Nixa. That does make sense, as there is a tornado warning just to the west of Nixa. Tornado warning technically does not extend into the Nixa area, but I'm sure that the operators there are probably seeing this line of severe storms, and they're just making sure that everybody is aware that this potential is there as it continues to track toward the northeast. This line of severe storms, again, tracking northeast at 85 miles per hour. Just incredible, the forward speed. Tracking that on our radar here. Let me see if I can find a tool here that'll do that for us. Again, this tool will kind of give us an idea of where this line is going to be. This is the movement. 85 miles per hour. Look how much ground is going to be covered over the next hour or so as that line tracks on off toward the northeast. Actually, that's the next half an hour. I should just to correct myself. That means if you live in Battlefield, line's going to be there within 5 minutes. Here in Springfield, looks like about 11:40 to 11:45. In Ozark, that line of severe storms is going to be there at about 11:50. Rogersville, close to midnight. Marshfield, close to midnight. So again, at the very least, as this line continues to track northeast at an astounding 85 miles per hour, please be ready for the potential of damaging winds. And here closer to the line, there is that concern for maybe some isolated tornadoes to develop. Again, nothing right now standing out on radar in terms of circulations on the line, but it is a scenario where something could develop very, very quickly, and you still need to be taking precautions for a possible tornado from Springfield south down through the panhandle of Christian County into Galena, as well as Branson West as this line of severe storms approaches.
Again, there's a couple of things you want to remember when there are tornado warnings in effect, because we are seeing damaging wind gusts. We are seeing, we've got the tornado warning in effect. You want to make sure that you seek shelter inside, not outside. Do not go outside and take pictures and videos. It is not safe. The dense fog advisory is still in effect, so you're not going to be able to see anything anyway. You want to get into the lowest level of your house or your interior room where there are no windows. You want to close the door, stay low to the ground, maybe put a pillow on top of your head just to make sure that if anything falls around your head or around you, you can stay safe from that. Again, you want to stay inside. We're also seeing very heavy rain with this line, so you remember, just do not walk, swim, or play in those flood waters. We are also seeing frequent lightning strikes with this line of storms as well, so again, make sure that you stay indoors. Do not go outside and take pictures, because you're not going to be able to see anything.
Just looking at, you can see how the tornado warning has been now expanded to the east, so it continues to cover more ground as this line of severe storms races toward the northeast. I do want to point out something before I get to these new tornado warnings that have just been issued for Webster County as well as the rest of Christian County. It appears that that front is located roughly in this area across Springfield. Basically, the north side of Springfield is colder than the south and southeast side of Springfield as a result of this boundary. That is going to be an area, as this line of severe storms interacts with that boundary, that is going to be an area of enhanced concern for maybe tornado development. Again, right now, nothing popping out on radar in terms of a circulation, but that's going to be an area that we're going to watch very, very closely. And again, that's right across the Springfield area. Tornado warnings do remain in effect. And again, if you hear the sirens, whether it be in Nixa, Springfield, maybe east across Rogersville, please take this seriously. Line of severe storms, which is racing northeast at 85 miles per hour, could very quickly produce tornadoes. There's already been one fairly significant circulation that moved along the Highway 60 corridor. That one has faded, but additional ones could try to develop very, very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and broaden this view out, and let's go ahead and get into these new tornado warnings. These warnings in effect for parts of Webster County, as well as the eastern, basically most of the rest of Christian County. That is through 12:15 this evening. So if you live in Marshfield, Rogersville, down through Ozark, you are now tornado warned. Nixa, now tornado warned. Please be taking shelter. This line of severe storms racing toward your area will be there within the next 15 minutes and could produce tornadoes very quickly. Again, this is a setup like we see so many times here in the Ozarks, where you get these lines of severe storms and you get these small embedded circulations on the line that develop. And that's the scenario that we're looking at tonight, these what we call mesovortices. These tornadoes typically don't last very long. They're very hard to pick up on radar sometimes, as they're rather shallow circulations, but they can do significant damage when they do develop. So that is what we're concerned about. Again, not seeing anything right now popping out on radar in terms of circulation, but that potential for something to develop very quickly is there. And that's why we have these broad tornado warnings, which extend from Springfield south to Galena and east. If you live in Aurora, if you live in Verona, Even if you live in, say, Billings up toward Republic, the severe weather threat is fading right now as that line of severe storms is now east of your area. Line of severe storms, though, is getting ready to move into Springfield. Should be actually moving into the west side of Springfield right now. Should be moving into Nixa right now, as well as Galena. You're going to find your winds picking up. The rain's going to come down. The lightning's going to flash. And there is going to be, again, that risk of maybe a tornado to develop very, very quickly. So please be taking shelter as this line of severe storms races again northeast at 85 miles per hour. Looking at the latest warning, they've dropped that speed down to about 65 miles per hour. So maybe not indicating the same kind of speed that we were looking at with that line segment, say 10, 15 minutes ago. But still, that is an incredible speed, 65 miles per hour. That does not give you much time to prepare for the possibility of a tornado. And I'll go ahead and kind of scope this out. Here's our line. Again, the path of this line is where we're looking at the risk for these weak, brief tornadoes to develop. And that will bring it across these areas where you see basically what you see shaded right there by that scope tool that I just used, or path tool that I just used for that line. In terms of ETAs, again, here in the Springfield area, within the next 5 minutes, it'll be moving across town. It should be into Ozark, I should say, by 11:45. Rogersville by about 11:55. Should be in the Fordland area, a little east of Rogersville by midnight tonight, and then from there, it looks like it'll be making its way into Seymour between 12:05 and 12:10 tonight. So if you live in any of those communities that I just listed and other communities that are tornado warned, please take this seriously. Possible tornadoes with this line of severe storms as it continues to track very quickly towards the little north of east at roughly 65 miles per hour.
For those of you that are in your safe place and may not have access to a TV, we are also on Facebook live streaming this. You can bring your phone with you and watch and keep up to date with us through that. We're also seeing reports of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts at the Springfield Airport. If you live in Nixa, the FEMA Safe Room is open. There are several FEMA Safe Rooms open across the Ozarks to help you stay safe through this line, through these storms throughout the overnight hours as well. And
yeah, using our scope tool, even though I'm not necessarily, I don't see anything tornadic right now in our scope tool, you can see what are very, very strong winds now moving away from the radar. This red indicates movement away from the radar site. The radar site's located right here at the nose of the pointer right there. This line is basically the gust front of this line of severe storms. And when you start seeing these very, very bright, almost pink shades of color that you're finding from, say, Battlefield across the west side of Springfield, that's where we have very, very strong winds being picked up, moving away from the radar site. Again, as Beth mentioned, a 60-mile-per-hour gust recorded at the Springfield Airport as this line of severe storms moves through. That's what's going to be making its way across Springfield. Right now it appears that gust front is now probably right on top of Campbell, and it will continue to track east, moving across Glenstone within, I would say, the next few minutes, and then from there it should be making its way across Highway 65 within the next 5 minutes. Again, this line that you see right in here, that is the gust front. It'll be approaching Nixa within the next 5 minutes. Should be into Ozark, I would say, within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And when this line moves through, you're going to see your winds rapidly picking up, and that's when you could see some wind damage. Also, we're going to be watching very, very closely for any circulations to develop along that line. The possibility is certainly there that something very quick could develop, and that's why tornado warnings remain in a place, not only for Springfield, but for actually a fairly broad area extending south to Galena and east across Nixa, Ozark, Rogersville, Fordland, Marshfield, and into the Seymour area. So again, a broad area is tornado warned in advance of this line of severe storms for the potential of tornadoes to very quickly develop along that line. I can say that if you live in, say, Cassville, Purdy, Monette, Aurora, you guys are in the clear. Marionville, Billings, up toward Republic. You guys are all in the clear. This line of severe storms is now east of your area, but winds may still remain rather strong, even on the back side of this line for a little bit. I did see that report about, say, 45 minutes or so ago, back when this line was making its way into southwest Missouri, that the winds actually stayed rather strong for upwards of 10 minutes, even in the wake of the line of storms having already moved through. Again, so the latest right now is we have a line of severe storms which extends from basically the Springfield Airport across the west side of Springfield, very close to Nixa, across Battlefield, just west of Nixa, down toward Galena. And this line of severe storms not only will be capable of producing damaging straight line winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour, but also the risk for brief tornadoes. Right now, we're going to have to watch that area close to Galena very closely. Anytime you start seeing these little nubs, like we've got right there, you can see how that sort of nubs out a little bit. Sometimes those little kinks are kind of a marker for where circulation may be trying to develop. So we're going to have to watch that part of the line closely there, just to the northeast of Galena. That's going to be tracking up toward southwestern Christian County, which is tornado warned. Again, watching the whole length of the line, but again, right now, maybe this part is maybe the most interesting looking in terms of tornado potential. These tornadoes, if they do develop, they don't last long very typically. They tend to be rather small in nature. They tend to also be very hard to pick up sometimes via radar. Sometimes you don't even know what happened until you start getting the damage reports, and then you go out and investigate and find that, yes, indeed, there was a tornado. That's what we're looking at. That kind of potential, at least with this line of severe storms right there. Very quick, rather small circulations developing along the length of that line as it continues to track toward the northeast, right now at about 65 miles per hour.
We're also seeing very frequent lightning strikes with this. We're getting reports of small hail, so there is hail embedded within this line. And there's a couple of things that you want to remember when there are tornado warnings. Again, you want to stay inside. There is still the dense fog advisory. You're not going to be able to see anything if you go outside. You're just putting yourself in danger. You want to stay inside. You want to get to the lowest level of your building. You want to get into the most interior room, away from windows, and maybe cover your head with a pillow or something of that nature. We're also seeing very heavy downpours of rain with this line. So again, if you see any flooding, you don't want to walk, swim, or play in those floodwaters. And again, we're seeing a lot of different things. We're seeing pea-sized hail. We're seeing reports of some nickel-sized hail. We are also getting reports of lightning strikes, so you want to stay inside if you can and stay in the most interior room of your house.
Yeah, and it appears right now, looking at, we have a little observation unit here at the TV station on the east end of Division. This would be located, roughly in this area right in here. That's very close to where the gust front is currently, and watching the winds really pick up on our unit up on the roof. I would guess probably approaching 60 miles per hour. And you can see these pink shaded pixels right in there. That's an indication, at least radar is sensing winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Moving away from the radar site. So this is an area likely where we're finding some very strong straight line winds moving across Highway 65 right now. This extends down toward Galloway, and we're likely finding the greatest threat for some wind damage right in here between, say, Glenstone and Highway 65. But it looks like the wind still remains strong across much of Springfield at this time, and that would probably be the case down toward Nixa as well. I'll take that off, and we'll go ahead and kind of look at the rest of the line down toward the Nixa area. We'll put our scope tool back on there, and just so we can kind of get a feel for exactly what this gust front looks like. There it is, right there. It's made its way now through Nixa, so the winds have picked up in Nixa. They're whipping. The winds will be picking up shortly in Ozark. And again, we could see gusts maybe approaching 60, possibly a little more than 60 miles per hour. Certainly, I think that to be true here in the Springfield area, and we did get a report out at the Springfield Airport of a 60 mile per hour gust. gust. You can see how that gust front now is located east of Highway 65. This will continue to push very quickly a little north of east at roughly 65 miles per hour. That means it will not be long before this line of very strong winds is moving into Ozark as well as Rogersville. And keep in mind, we are still looking at a tornado warning in effect for all of those communities. Tornado warning remains in effect for really most of northeastern Christian County, across most of Greene County, and into Webster County. I can say that west of, I would probably put it as maybe west of Highway 160, the threat for tornadoes has come to an end as that line of severe storms has now pushed east of those areas here from Springfield south down toward Nixa.
We are still receiving reports of hail. I just got a confirmed report of hail in Springfield, so you do want to stay inside with this line moving through. We're also getting several reports of power outages across the Ozarks with this line coming in. This is something that you want to stay inside for. You do not want to go outside and take pictures. You want to stay in the lowest part of your building, in the most interior room, away from windows. We're also seeing very frequent lightning strikes. Again, we have confirmed that there is small hail within this. We are getting reports of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That is very damaging wind gusts. Again, things are probably blowing around outside, so you want to stay inside your house if you can.
Yeah, and just looking at the latest statement from the National Weather Service, I mean, they've pinpointed the greatest tornado risk to be here in the Springfield area. Again, no more narrow than that in terms of the focus, but it's because this is the part of the line that if there were to be a tornado would be the most likely part of that line to produce a tornado. There was evidence of a decent circulation, fairly strong circulation with this part of the line further southwest, back toward Monette and then Aurora and then Marionville. The circulation did weaken, but the signature in the line is still there for, at the very least, some very strong winds, and that's what radar is also indicating, that we've got very strong winds still impacting Springfield, winds likely in excess of 60 miles per hour. And this gust front and this tornado risk looks like it's going to be making its way toward the Stratford area within the next 5 minutes also. Looking further south, also noticing something else on radar, and that is down toward Galena. It looks like we may have a bit of a hail core trying to develop here northeast of Galena. Indications of maybe some large hail that would be located roughly right about in here. This is northeast of Galena. That's going to track toward the northeast toward Highlandville. Again, some of these storms have had a history producing hail up to quarter size, so that's going to be something that I would be watching for, maybe out of this part of the line. It's now making its way into southwestern Christian County. But again, of greatest concern, of most widespread impact, will be these damaging straight line winds that we're finding with this line as it makes its way now across Springfield, also across Nixa and Ozark, and on the way into areas like Fairgrove, Rogersville, Fordland, and points to the south and in northeastern Christian County.
We're also seeing reports of telephone lines that have been snapped with these wind gusts. Again, this is not something that you want to be outside for. You want to stay inside. And for those of you that are going into your safe room, we are also on Facebook Live. If you don't have access to a TV, we are on there streaming this as well in case you need to continue to watch us through inside of your safe room.
Yeah, Beth mentioned the damage report. This was over in Purdy, just 4 miles northwest of Purdy. That's pretty close to where that possible tornado was. And they're reporting heavy damage to a concrete silo as well as telephone lines in that area snapped. So sometimes those are indicators, at the very least, of very strong winds, and that's very close to where that possible tornado was, about 45 minutes or so ago. Again, right now, the tornado risk extends from just to the northeast of Springfield down across Galloway into western Christian County across Nixa, Ozark, and Highlandville. Again, not able to really pinpoint exactly where a circulation is, but along that length of the line, there is going to be the possibility at a small circulation developing very quickly and producing tornado damage. So that's why we are concerned about tornado potential there, and that's why there's this broad tornado warning that you see in effect across eastern Greene County, eastern Christian County, and into parts of Webster County. Also, National Weather Service, well, they've just basically extended the tornado warning a bit further south. This includes Saddlebrook and Garrison into northwestern Taney County. That's for that tail end storm that is located to the east of Galena. I mentioned that it had a bit of a hail core with it, maybe some large hail to the northeast of Galena. That stronger storm with that, obviously a stronger updraft to generate the stronger or larger hail potential, also is an indicator that maybe that is a place where a tornado could try to form very quickly, and that's why tornado warning has been issued. Here is that tornado warning information that, again, just coming out. This is for areas of east central Stone County into southern sections of Christian County. And this is also for northern sections of Taney County. For this cell that's located to the northeast of Reed Spring, that tornado warning in effect until 12:30. That possible tornado was located near Reed Spring, moving east at 60 miles per hour. Also indications that hail up to maybe ping pong ball size is a possibility. Again, also indications, kind of getting back to what's going on here in the Springfield area, there are indications that if there is a tornado in the line here, that tornado is very quickly approaching the Stratford area. Should be over, in fact, the Stratford area based on what we're seeing on radar. In fact, I'll go ahead and put our scope tool back on here so we can see what it looks like. And you can see we've got this very strong core of outbound winds, and then the winds are relatively weak to the northwest. This is an indication if there's a tornado, it's probably located right here on top of I-44, moving through the Stratford area right now. So if you live in Stratford, just to the east of Stratford, you can see in our latest our radar scan that that pocket of strong winds is now located just east of Stratford. Please be taking shelter. Again, a possible tornado right here on this part of the line, just to the east-northeast of Stratford, and this will continue to track toward the looks like a little north of east, paralleling the I-44 corridor, maybe approaching Marshfield over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. So concerned about that part of the line. Further south, also concerned about what's going on down near Reed Spring. Again, a new tornado warning has been issued for areas east of Galena, from Reed Spring east across Saddlebrook, Garrison, Taneyville, all tornado warned as we track this cell into the northeast of Reed Spring that could be producing a tornado. We'll go ahead and, because this is a more focused track, I think, with this storm. That storm moving east at roughly, I believe it was 60 miles per hour. That will bring it across these areas. It should be close to the Saddlebrook area within about 5 minutes. Swan by about 12:10. Garrison by about 12:13 this morning. Bradleyville about 12:18. And in Brown Branch at about 12:23. So if you live in these communities that I just mentioned, these are all where we are tornado warned currently, at least areas from Bradleyville west, and that's where you need to be taking shelter, possible tornado with that part of the line. And in fact, you can see this little kink right here. That is an indicator that maybe we do have a tornado trying to develop, and that is just to the east-northeast of Reed Spring. So there are two areas that we're most concerned about on the line. One is here to the southwest of Saddlebrook, and then also concerned about what's going on further north with this part of the line that is now raced across Stratford and very quickly approaching Northview. Should be into the Northview area within minutes, and probably into the Marshfield area in about 5 minutes' time. Again, this part of the line is racing toward the northeast. Beth, what was the speed?
60.
60 miles per hour?
Yes.
So again, this doesn't give you much time. If you live in these areas east of Stratford, again, a possible tornado is racing towards the east-northeast at 60 miles per hour. It looks like it's going to be tracking fairly close to the I-44 corridor, and at the very least expecting damaging straight-line winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour. We did have a report of a 60-mile-per-hour gust out at the airport here in Springfield not too long ago, and here at Color 10 on the east end of Division on the northeast side of Springfield, we had gusts likely between 50 and 60 miles per hour.
This line also producing small hail, also has heavy downpours of rain. And again, we do have those tornado warnings in effect, so you want to make sure that you are in the lowest part of your building, in the most interior room, away from those windows, and make sure that you maybe want to grab a pillow just in case any debris is flying around. Again, we're seeing heavy downpours with this as well, so you want to stay away from any flooded roadways. If you are out of this line, now this line has passed you, you still do not want to go outside. There is still very dense fog out there. We have that dense fog advisory in effect, so you're not going to be able to see anything anyway, so just stay inside throughout the night and just wait until morning if you can.
Yeah, and kind of getting back, we got, like I said earlier, we've got two main areas of concern now. Yes, we have this line of severe storms, damaging straight line winds, a possibility along the length of that line. Also concerned about brief tornadoes trying to develop along the length of the line. But in terms of what we can see on radar right now, it appears the greatest concern for a possible tornado is now to the east-northeast of Stratford, and also watching this part of the line, this little kink in the line. This is down near Saddlebrook to the southwest of Saddlebrook. Again, both of those areas, those are where we have the strongest hints of possible tornadoes along the length of this line. And again, ahead of that line, these areas are tornado warned from Marshfield all the way down into the northern end of Taney County. Basically, it's a tornado warning that almost looks like a severe thunderstorm warning, and it's because we are worried that along the length of that line of severe storms that we could see brief small tornadoes develop at a moment's notice. So again, just trying to get that word out there to be ready for that potential. In addition to that, the threat of damaging straight line winds. Again, it appears that the tornado threat on the northern end of the line, and this is what's already through Springfield, and if you live here in Springfield, Nixa, Battlefield, Republic, Willard, we are all now in the clear. The tornado warning, in fact, has just been cleared off the map, so the severe weather threat has ended for the time being. But to the northeast, we still have a tornado threat. This is for this part of the line here, moving into Northview, and then that will be making its way into Marshfield within the next 5 minutes. This line of severe storms just racing a little north of east at about 60 to 65 miles per hour, and that very fast movement is a kind of a hallmark of storms that can produce very strong winds, and that's certainly something that we've seen with this line as it's made its way really out of the Wheaton area and then across the Highway 60 corridor into Springfield. Along that part of the line, there have been several reports of winds at or above 60 miles per hour, and I haven't seen really much in the way of reports of damage, but we'll probably start seeing that come in here shortly. In terms of what we're looking at on radar right now, it appears that the greatest potential for a possible tornado is going to be located roughly here to the north of Northview. Again, you can see these are very strong outbound winds moving away from the Springfield radar, which is out at the airport. So it looks like there would probably be a circulation roughly in this area. This is, again, north of I-44, north of Northview, and this appears that it will track in this general fashion, maybe a little north of Marshfield, but it's going to be real close to the Marshfield area. So if you live in Marshfield, please, again, be taking precautions for a possible tornado as that part of the line will be moving through within the next 5 minutes. Also, further south, concerned about this part of the line here, which is now making its way into Saddlebrook. I'm going to look at a different radar product just to kind of see what's going on with that. And currently, don't see strong indications of circulation there, but just looking at the way radar looks right there with that little kink, that's where we have a possible tornado there, and that would be located really very close to Saddlebrook, and then it will continue to move east-northeast from there, maybe approaching areas between Chadwick and Garrison here not too long from now. Looking at conditions, is there a new tornado warning that's just been issued?
Yeah, for Webster County until 12:15, moving northeast at 75 miles per hour.
Okay, and that's for this this part of the line here, I mentioned how we had that possible tornado located right here. So what National Weather Service has done is gone ahead and extended that tornado warning, that tornado risk further north into really most of the rest of northern Webster County, because it looks like that circulation is going to be tracking into that area here over the next couple of minutes. The circulation looks like it will move close to, but probably a little north of Marshfield, and then from there it will likely track close to, but a little north of Niangua. Probably in the next 5 minutes or so, it'll be crossing the I-44 corridor once again as it does approach Niangua in northeastern Webster County.
Timing these out for you, looks like it'll get to Rogersville right about now, Marshfield within the next 5 minutes, Seymour within the next 10 minutes, Mansfield and Ava within the next 20 minutes. So you want to make sure if you are in any of those areas that you do want to get into your safe place. And if you want to continue to watch us, we are streaming this on Facebook for you to continue to watch it while you're in your safe room, which again should be in the lowest level of your building in the most interior room away from windows.
Yeah, and I'm going ahead and I'm going to kind of plot out the path of these storms here. This is over the next half hour. And you can see how much ground that these storms will cover. And this is just in the next 30 minutes. Should see it make its way all the way across Webster County and into northwestern Douglas County and western sections of Wright County. Again, within a half hour's time, these storms are moving at about 60 to 65 miles per hour, at least generally speaking along the length of the line, although Beth did mention the northern end of that line actually quite a bit faster than that, upwards of 70 miles per hour.
We are also seeing reports of small hail associated with this line. We're also seeing reports of lightning strikes, hearing thunder, sirens going off. Again, make sure that you stay inside. There's not much you could see outside. It's, you know, it's midnight. There's fog out there. You're not going to be able to see anything. Stay inside if you can.
Yep, and looking at how things are shaping up on radar right now. Again, looks like that we have those two possible tornadoes that we're kind of focused in on right now. The one on the northern end would be located very close to Marshfield. Looks like it would probably, these are strong outbound winds, and where it kind of hooks back in toward the Springfield area, this is where the highest likelihood for a possible tornado is going to be, right about in there. That is going to continue to track toward the east-northeast across north central and northeastern Webster County, and that'll be over the next 5-10 minutes or so. Very strong winds moving into Marshfield currently. I would expect gusts maybe approaching 60, possibly a little higher than 60 miles per hour, and that could very well lead to some wind damage and maybe some power outages. Another area of concern that we're watching is further down the line, and that is down toward the Saddlebrook area. Looks like we had this section of the line right in here. It looks a lot weaker now, I will say that, but this little section of the line right here, initially when it was back near Reed Spring, had a nice little kink in it, and then that made its way across Saddlebrook. This is an area that we were concerned maybe for a possible tornado, and it looks like that'll be approaching Highway 125 over the next few minutes between Chadwick and Garrison. Outside of that, also watching areas in between. Again, not seeing anything really pop out in terms of a circulation on radar, but that risk is certainly still there for a brief tornado to try to develop. Again, I'll talk about you know, these types of warnings. It can be a little bit confusing. I think oftentimes with these tornado warnings, you're expecting more of a triangular shape, of a more focused path for these tornado warnings. But in this instance and in these cases, when you've got these lines of severe storms, oftentimes the tornado warnings that are issued are more linear in nature, almost like severe thunderstorm warnings. And it's because maybe at the point of issuance, when the tornado warning is issued, there may be like one circulation that you can point out, but then that will quickly fade, and another circulation will quickly develop, and then it will fade. And this can happen along the length of that line of severe storms. These mesovortices, they tend to be very shallow in nature. They tend to be brief. They tend to be on the weaker end of the tornado spectrum, but they can still produce significant damage, and they are still a concern. And that's why we are looking at tornado warnings from Webster County all the way down through eastern Christian County and in northern Taney County for that line. Outside of that, because we've not really made much mention about what's going on elsewhere, You can see we've got a pretty broad area of rain and thunder up toward Lake of the Ozarks, Pomme de Terre, places like that. This is really heavy rain, some lightning. There could be some small hail with that activity. In terms of hail and severe weather potential, really need to, and I would say this is probably more of a hail potential, need to watch these individual cells that are trying to develop out ahead of this main line. These individual cells look a bit stronger, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't become hail producers. And then further south, along the length of this line, down into northwest Arkansas, down into the Eureka Springs area, this activity doesn't look all that strong, but it bears watching. The further south you get, the higher the instability is. I think the reason why this part of the line that we're looking at right now that's made its way across Highway 65 here in Greene County and Christian County, the reason why that has been the part of the line that has been more tornado prone, or at least the potential has been higher with that part of the line, is because that's very close to where we've had this very persistent boundary throughout the day today and now into the evening. That boundary, we have a big range in temperatures from one side to the other. You don't have to head too far to the northwest as Springfield readings are in the 30s. You head southeast of Springfield and readings quickly rise into the middle and upper 50s. So that boundary is playing a role in the severe weather potential that we're finding with this part of the line of thunderstorms, which is currently moving through. And this is very, very similar to what we had occur back at the end of November going into December. Again, looking outside of that, we are again watching this part of the line also very closely here in Christian County. Not seeing necessarily a strong circulation just jump out at me, but that does bear watching. This southern portion sometimes can be the portion that has better access to more instability, and sometimes these storms are the ones that are strongest, and in turn also are the ones that have the greater potential of producing tornadoes. And National Weather Service is eyeing that very, very closely there, that storm located near Chadwick. Again, nothing jumping out right now on radar in terms of circulation, but again, something that we're watching very, very closely. And tornado warnings do remain in effect for a broad area from northeast of Marshfield all the way down into northern Taney County for this line of severe storms. We're just kind of waiting and seeing where things kind of try to pop out on this line, and when they do, we'll talk about it, we'll point it out to you, and then we kind of wait and see what happens with those circulations as they continue to evolve. Still looking at the threat of damaging winds, certainly with this part of the line that continues to bow out across northern Webster County. You can see that bow right there. That indicates some very strong wind energy coming into the backside of this line of storms, and that's where we have a greater chance at damaging winds, where winds could be maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour, and it looks like that's probably already made its way through the Marshfield area now. I'll go ahead and clear off the pointer there and put our scope tool back on and kind of see what this looks like on radar. And there's still some hints there of some stronger winds northeast of Marshfield. That signature is not as strong as it was, but it is also getting further away from the radar site. So that's certainly going to be an issue. And if there is still a potential tornado with this, it's going to tend to be on the northern edge of this stronger wind field. So pretty close to I-44. I would say it would probably be right about in here between Marshfield and Phillipsburg near I-44. New severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. That for Douglas County. Really all of Douglas County, it appears. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect through 1:15 in anticipation of this line of severe storms, which continues to rapidly push off to the east. Here is the latest information there. Go ahead and plot that for you. And you can see a severe thunderstorm warning in effect through 1:15. This is for Douglas County. Severe thunderstorms located roughly about 7 miles to the south of Sparta, about 12 miles to the southeast of Ozark, moving east at 60 miles per hour. Golf ball size hail and winds up to 60 miles per hour, a possibility. So again, that is for this portion of the line, and I'll plot this out. It's for this portion of the line right in here. And again, moving a little north of east at about 60 miles per hour. That's gonna bring it across these areas. Here's your ETAs. You can see looks like it's going to be near Ava at about 12:25 this evening. So roughly 10 to 15 minutes from now, in the Brushy Knob area at about 12:35, and near Denlow at about 12:41. in the morning. And again, we'll have to watch this line. I mean, this line of severe thunderstorms you can see further west. Still looking at tornado warnings in effect for areas from north central Taney County through Garrison, eastern Christian County, and into Webster County. These tornado warnings are in effect because of that line of severe storms, and that line of severe storms is going to be moving into Douglas County as well as Wright County, I should add, here in the next. It'll be moving across those areas over the next half hour to 45 minutes.
Excuse me. We're seeing several reports of power outages, and if you do not have power or you're in your safe room, be sure to head to Facebook. We are on Facebook Live. We are streaming this through our Facebook, and you want to stay inside your house. You do not want to go outside. Probably can't see anything with this line of storms. You want to be in the lowest part of your building, in the most interior room, and again, stay away from windows. This is not something that you want to go outside for.
And I'll go ahead and add, just looking at what's going on radar right now, I will go ahead and put our scope tool on just so folks at home can see what I'm talking about here. It looks like we're getting more of a circulation now right about in here. This is to the southeast of Chadwick, a little north of Garrison, right about here where my pointer is. That is tracking toward the east at roughly 50 miles per hour or so. And that is going to be bringing it into western Douglas County here shortly. So if you live in western Douglas County, and I would include areas like Ava, you're currently under severe thunderstorm warning, but we're going to be watching this part of the line very, very closely between Chadwick and Garrison for possible tornado development. Again, if you live in Chadwick and Garrison, you are still under a tornado warning, and I'm going to be watching very closely to see if that gets extended further east into western Douglas County. As again, on radar, it appears that there are some indications that a circulation is trying to get its act together here to the southeast of Chadwick, roughly right about in there. You can see we've got our core right here. This is the hail core. This is where you're looking at the highest chance it may be hail up to quarter, possibly ping pong ball size. This is just to the southeast and east of Chadwick. From there, we've got this little tongue of thunderstorm activity. And right here, kind of where it curls back toward the Chadwick area, right in here, this is going to be a prime spot for possible tornado development. So that's going to be something that I'll watch very closely as it makes its way into western Douglas County. Again, areas east of Highway 125, you guys remain under a tornado warning. And again, that part of the line really bears watching as, again, things look to be maybe coming together there.
Jamie, we're getting some questions about where this is heading and if there's going to be another round maybe within the next couple of hours into the morning hours.
Let's say that again.
People are asking us on our Facebook Live where this storm line is heading and what's going to happen within the next couple of hours.
Okay, in the next, kind of looking at things, okay, new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. And you'll notice, folks, the tornado warning that we had in effect for northeastern Christian County and Webster County has been allowed to expire. So no longer under tornado warning further north. Still looking at a tornado warning, though, for this part of the line that I was talking about earlier, southeastern Christian County and north central Taney County. New severe thunderstorm warnings have just been issued for Webster County into Wright County. And that warning is in effect through 1 o'clock in the morning. That line of severe storms continues to move very quickly to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So we're seeing some slowing of the forward movement. There's also the risk of maybe some quarter-size hail in those severe warned areas. Bless you.
Thank you.
Looking at, again, as far as timing on all of this, we'll go ahead and broaden out this view. You can see our line of severe storms. Again, it's slowed down a little bit based on the movement in the latest report at about 45 miles per hour. That's going to bring it across these areas here. This is in the next half hour's time. I got this time to go, for the next half hour. That's the path that I've drawn out. And you can see that covers areas from most of southern Laclede County across much of western Wright County and the western half of Douglas County down into northwestern Ozark County. So this line of storms is going to cover a lot of ground over the next half hour. Then beyond that, as we're approaching, say, 1 o'clock, I would expect this line of severe storms to be making its way into Texas County, across eastern Douglas County, as well as north central and northeastern Ozark counties. Again, that's if it can hold together. And right now it still looks pretty stout on radar, and we're still getting some pretty good indication of severe weather with this part of the line down here in southeastern Christian County to the southeast of Chadwick. Right here, as I zoom in, looks like we've got large hail occurring probably right about in here to the east of Chadwick, east of Highway 125, maybe approaching ping pong ball size. And there's also some hints on radar here of maybe a circulation located roughly about here. So this is on the northern edge of that lone tornado warning in southeastern Christian County, and I'm going to continue to watch that very, very closely as that will be tracking into western Douglas County, northwestern Douglas County here in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
We are still getting reports of hail up to quarter-size hail. We've seen pea-size, nickel-size, dime, all the way up to quarter with this line segment, all the way up from parts down in Christian County, all the way up through Camdenton and in Lebanon as well. So again, anywhere you are in the Ozarks, you do not want to be outside, regardless if you're under a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Also getting reports of lightning strikes as well. So again, make sure that you stay inside wherever you are across the Ozarks.
And folks may be wondering, well, we've got one lone tornado warning. That's in southeastern Christian County and in north central Taney County. That is through 12:30. So we've got another 12 minutes to go on that warning. We're going to stay with this at least through the end of this warning. And I really am curious to see what happens as this storm moves into western Douglas County, what they do with it, as there's still some hints on radar of possible circulation with this. Now, what's been interesting, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of change our view a little bit. I've not really talked very much about temperature, but very interesting how cold it is actually at the surface with this line of severe storms moving through. In fact, here I am, I'm going ahead and changing our map view, and you're looking at temperatures right now, and you can see right now in Springfield it is 35 degrees. In Monette it is 41, and that is all compliments of that line of severe storms moving through and pulling cold air in behind it. We're seeing temperatures drop pretty dramatically across really much of Barry County and likely into Stone County. Notice in areas that are currently warned, Christian County down into Taney County and east into Douglas County and Wright County, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 50s. This, when you're looking for severe weather, at least in terms of straight line winds and tornadoes. Yes, you can have elevated thunderstorms that produce hail and cold temperatures like we've seen this evening. But for tornadoes and straight line winds, this is really the bottom threshold. You really want to see temperatures at least at about 56 or 57. So this is sort of a borderline situation for severe weather. But the wind energy and the fact that we have this surface front right there playing a role in enhancing the severe weather potential and kind of putting things over the top in terms of getting us to where we are in regard to having the severe weather threat that we've had already over the last hour and a half. Here across southwest Missouri.
Still getting reports of power outages, and looks like they just issued another tornado warning for parts of Christian and Douglas County. That is until 1 a.m. The storm moving east at 55 miles per hour.
Okay, so yeah, again, we were concerned about that cell in southeastern Christian County. New tornado warning has been issued now for really much of western Douglas County. This does include Ava. Please be taking shelter right now. Get into your tornado safe place. Possible tornado with a storm that is currently located to the east of Chadwick or to the northeast of Garrison. That storm is tracking east at 55 miles per hour. It's about 13 miles to the west of Ava. And again, that tornado warning is in effect through 1 o'clock. So we'll be watching this very, very closely. The tornado warned area in southeastern Christian County and in north central Taney County, really, they may allow that to expire at 12:30. They could probably go ahead and cancel it early, as it looks like the tornado threat has now, for the most part, shifted out of those areas. But looking at a tornado potential now moving into western Douglas County, kind of looking at radar right now. I'll go ahead and put our scope tool on. This is really helpful in identifying where the circulation is, and you can see right about in here, based on what we're seeing on radar in terms of the storm, and now looking at our velocity data right here, this appears to be where the possible tornado is, located to the west of Ava by about 13 miles. This is also a little west of Highway 76. This possible tornado tracking roughly east at 55 miles per hour. That is going to bring it into Ava in about the next 10 minutes or so. So we'll be watching this very, very closely. If you live in Ava, if you live in areas west of Ava, be taking shelter right now. Possible tornado with this storm now making its way into western Douglas County. That storm tracking toward the east at 55 miles per hour. And we're now getting reports that the sirens are going off in Ava. So if you are waking up to sirens in Ava, you're flipping on the TV, you are under a tornado warning. We've got a possible tornado located about 10 miles to your west, moving east at 55 miles per hour. Right now, it appears that that possible tornado is located very close to Good Hope. And if you live there, you need to be taking shelter immediately with the possible tornado moving through.
Again, if you are